I guess my life was prepared for this year. I didn't meet my dad. My father left before I was born. I think my mom was 3 or 4 months pregnant when my father left. And the bone of contention was money, right? My father came from a privileged background. My mother came from a poor background. And when they met, my father didn't have anything, but he felt he was in love. I tell people that money is what will make you love what you hate and hate what you love, right? So he felt he was in love. They got together, they were pushing this thing. And somewhere along the line, the father said, okay, no problem. If you want to go ahead with this, you can go ahead, but I will disown you. You will no longer be my child. You will no longer be my son. So I was born into this place where people were not prepared for me. People were not expecting me. And the income was so little and non-available that my presence was a problem. It was a shock, right? It was an economic shock to the family. So at about 11 plus, I was homeless. My family gave me away. They just gave me to this guy. I said, you know what? You're too much of a problem, this boy. Just follow this guy to Cameroon, and when you probably go learn 1 or 2 things, then when you're cool-headed, you can come back. So this guy was supposed to take me to Cameroon. I don't know how it happened. He took me to Ghana instead. I got to Accra. He abandoned me at the motor park and he vanished. I never saw him again, right? So that was the beginning of my journey. At that point in time, I knew that I had to do something to survive. This is life. I've become born again now. I have to find my way. So, and I had made up my mind that I was never going to die. I was going to survive.
Hey, welcome to the episode 9 of the Expertview Show. Now, today we'll be discussing about a very interesting topic, even though so many people shy away from it. So, previous episode of this talk show, we've talked about how you can actually make money, different means and ways in which you can leverage to make money. But the thing is, not everybody know how to keep the money they are making or how to make this money even work for them. And this is why I had to schedule this particular episode for the end of the year. So in this particular episode, our expert guest will show you how you can actually be financially intelligent so that you can make some smart moves, so that you can make some smart financial decisions and also make money work for you. The truth is, you can have plenty sense, but not have money sense. Now, this is not me abusing anybody, and I know we don't often talk about this. This is why I have put it upon myself to bring on an expert with experience on this particular topic to come share with you some money sense for the new year. So as you are spending, jollying and enjoying the season, the Christmas season, the festive season, make sure you actually watch this and implement. Okay, so guys, we'll just go on a very short break, very short one, and I'll bring on the expert guest for this particular episode. Hello. Welcome.
Hi, Samuel. How you doing? Nice to be here.
You are welcome. Thanks for being here. It's really a great honor to have you on the show.
I appreciate you, my man. Thank you for bringing me on board. Appreciate it.
Yeah, you're welcome. How is Nigeria today, or how is Lagos in particular?
Yeah, Lagos is cool. We are great. Fantastic.
Awesome. And how is the family?
Yeah, bless God, man. I'm doing great. Yeah.
All right. So before we continue, I would just like to say this. You are the perfect example of perfect couple. Imagine having legal sense and money sense in just one family. God. So extend my greeting to the legal boss herself.
Yeah, she will hear. Thank you.
All right. So guys, not to take your time, today we'll be discussing about money sense for 2023, and this is actually a very, very important topic. And well, I've done the introduction already, so let's hear from our expert guest himself. So let's meet who is Iheanacho.
All right, thank you for having me, Samuel. So Iheanacho is I like to see myself as a student of life and a student of money. So basically what I do is try to understand how life works and how to plug myself on the favorable side. and also to understand how money works so that I can actually, have enough of it and also share with a whole lot of other people how to do the same. So basically, I'm into writing, I'm into speaking, I'm also into investing. So I invest specifically into real estate projects and startups. So that's basically, what I do, and that is me in a simple format.
Wow, that's interesting. So now today we are talking about money sense.
Yeah.
Now this might sound kind of cliche. People will be like, money sense, this is just like use of words, right? But it is, almost everybody has sense. Let me just put it that way. But not everybody with plenty sense has money sense. So you can have plenty sense and still not have money sense. So,
sure.
As the expert in this particular topic, what exactly is money sense, and why must people strive to possess this kind of sense?
Okay, so I like that angle. Now, money sense is not just a combination of words, it's actually a framework, right? So it's a framework that helps you to understand what money is, how money works, and how to make it work for you. To understand what money is, how money works, and how to make it work for you. So it's a framework. So in the framework, the first part of the framework is for you to understand exactly what money is. Now, a whole lot of people don't really know what money is. People think that what they have in their bank accounts and what they have in their wallets is money. That is not money. That is credit and currency, right? So you need to understand what exactly is money. So we have money in three frames. You need to understand the first most important frame of money, which a lot of people do not know, and I call that POTS, P-O-T-S, right? P-O-T-S. So POTS simply means people, opportunities, talents, and solutions. These are people, opportunities, talent, and solutions, right? These things are the things that are the real money. If you are able to cultivate these things, it becomes easy for currency to follow you. It becomes easy for you to convert them to currency. Anyone you know who has a lot of currency, what you ordinarily will call money, is someone who understands how these four things work, right? So the more of these four things you have, and the more of these four things you cultivate, the more currency you will have. And here's the thing, you can have currency without having these things. For example, there is a club, there are some clubs, not even just one, there are some clubs in Lagos here in Nigeria and every part of the world. Before you can become a member, no matter how rich you are, you must be introduced by a member, right? That tells you that it doesn't matter how much you have, how much currency you have, you must have a person who will introduce you to the club, right? And there's what I refer to as the network effect. In any room, the richest person in that room must know the highest number of important people. That is what I refer to as network effect. The more people you know, the more opportunities you can create for yourself, and the more currency you can convert, right? So if you know people, you can never be broke, because the money you're looking for is actually in the hands of people. So it's either by value exchange or by relationship exchange, okay? Yeah, so ports are very, very important for you to understand and cultivate. The second level of money, which people are also ignorant of, is what we refer to as credit. Credit is ability to transact on promise. Okay, so I'm sure you must have had someone say, oh, that guy is credit worthy, or this person is credit worthy. For you to really be referred to as a rich man, you must be credit worthy. It simply means that you have the capacity, right, to honor your promise. So if I were to be Dangote now, I could send anybody to the bank, probably with a note or with a check, and say, just go there and, they'll honor it. Why? Because they know that they have the capacity to do that. In any economy or in any society or in any individual where credit fails, transactions will fail, right? So it is very important that people have credit worthiness as a component. That is why the rich are always making more money, not necessarily with their own money, but with their credit worthiness. So there is what we call leverage. Leverage is your capacity to use other people's money, for example, to do business or to do transactions. That's a form of credit worthiness. Some of the deals I've done and some of the investments I've done, I didn't do them with my own money. I just had a fraction of my own money in the deal, while I brought other people. And why did they come in? Because they trust my capacity, right? To introduce them to my credibility, my worthiness, and all of that, to put them through something that makes sense. And that is why you will also know that you don't really get very rich with your own money, right? Because of the existence of credit. Now, how many people really know how credit works, right? How many people really know how debt works? So debt leverage is a two-edged sword. If you understand how it works, it can make you currency. If you don't understand how it works, it can destroy you. So it is your job to understand how credit works. Those are the two most important components of money. But people don't really pay attention to those. Then the third one is currency. Currency is nothing but what it is. It is just anything that the government says is acceptable as a means of exchange, or, for transaction purposes, for transaction convenience. So in Nigeria now, by a few weeks' time, we'll have change of currency, right? Yeah. So what they are telling you now is that if I have 1 million naira cash in my house, by the time they change the currency, that money suddenly becomes useless. It means that I can throw that money away on the road and people will trample on it and move on. You see now? So what people are actually in real sense going after is just a piece of paper, it's a piece of nothing. You have some persons who say, oh man, why is it that you don't have friends? Hey man, who needs friends? I don't need friends, I'm chasing money. Right? You see people who do things that really destroy the real money while they are chasing currency. Some time ago, we had when the British, the UK government changed some of their currencies as well. It happens. Yeah. So currency is just what the government says it is. Tomorrow now, government can bring out certain paper and say, this is now our currency. Everything you have to your name becomes useless. So why is it that people are not understanding these things? Why is it that people are not going after the real things? Because they don't have money sense. So the first part is understand what money is, because you can't conquer what you don't understand actually. Then the second part is to understand how money works, right? In any place you are, you must understand how money works. How money works in the place you are is different from how money works here. How money works in Lagos, for example, is different from how money works in East, even though it's the same Nigeria. How money works in Nigeria is different from how money works in Ghana. Your job is to understand how money works. And for you to understand how money works, there are three things you need to look at. You need to understand politics. You need to understand the political environment that you found yourself, how the politics in the place you are is played. Because politics is what I refer to as a Caesar system. Even Jesus said, give to Caesar what belongs to Caesar, and to God what belongs to God. Yeah. So you have to know how to give to Caesar what belongs to Caesar. You have to know how Caesar operates so that Caesar does not operate against you. You have to give Caesar what belongs to Caesar so that Caesar does not take what belongs to you. Right? You have to know the Caesar system, which is the government. How does the government of the place play? Then the second thing is you need to understand economics. You need to understand the forces of demand and supply, because it is the forces of demand and supply that determine value, that determine price, that determine transactions. So how does the forces of demand and supply work here, or how are the forces of demand and supply working in this place? Then the third one is that you need to understand why humans behave the way they do. We call that psychology, right? You need to understand human psychology. What are the triggers? What are the things that make people behave the way they do when they do? If you understand these things, if you become, like I told you initially, I'm a student of money and a student of life. So my job is just to pay attention to these things, see why they are happening around me and in me, and see how I can take advantage of them. Then the last part of it is to understand how to make it work for you, right? And in understanding how to make it work for you, you have to follow what I refer to as a management protocol, right? The management protocol and the growth format. So the management protocol looks at you being able to manage your mind, right? That's the first part of management. You must become a person who is able to manage his mind. We all have different money stories, different money frames. We have different money scripts. We have different money personalities. We have different money truths and lies that we've come to believe. So if you do not manage your mind, these things will work against you. I tell people that changing location is not usually just the issue. When you change location, if you don't change your money frame, your results will not be totally different. You can just look fresh, but that does not mean that your financial result has changed, right? So you need to reprogram your mind. The first place the journey and the battle begins is in the mind. You must reframe your mind to fit the new reality that you're looking for. Because, one of my mentors will say that what you're looking for is looking for you, but not this version of you, right? So the new version of you is the new version that what you're looking for is looking for. So you must be able to reframe your mind constantly. And reframing your mind is not a war you fight once and win. It's a war you must get tools that will help you to constantly fight and win. For example, in my new book, the money management protocol, I talked about how you can actually set up your mind properly to win. So that's the first thing you have to manage. Second thing you have to manage is yourself around money. People tell you, people teach money management. I don't teach money management because really you can't manage money. What you need to learn how to do is to manage yourself around money. Okay? Trying to manage money is a loser's game. You're just like holding the snake at the tail. What you should do instead is to learn how to manage yourself. You are in control. You are in control of yourself. You're not in control of money. You can be the one to determine how financial things are to happen around you, right? Because it's not really about managing money. I could give two people the same amount of money, right? And one person will grow it, one person will lose it. You put two people in the same environment, one person will see money, the other person will not see money. You put two people in the same environment, one person will complain, one person will find a way, right? So it's about you being able to manage yourself.
In fact, this alone is a whole episode on its own. Trust me.
Money, like I tell people, that's why I started Money Sense School. Money is a conversation we should be having multiple times in a day. In fact, we can't even have it enough because while growing up, while in school, we didn't have opportunity to have money talks. So we have lost a lot of years. So we need to brace up and pace up to have this conversation often. You can't win over what you don't talk about. You can't win over what you are afraid to talk about. You can't win over what you do not understand.
Now, you have given us a deep dive into what money sense is. So right now, if you are watching this, I'm very sure you know what money sense is and why you should have money sense. Now, the next question is this. I'm very sure you did not just find yourself talking about money sense. You must have had some experience that led you into preaching this gospel of money sense. So my question now is, can you just give us like a backstory of what led you into talking about money sense?
Okay, so I guess my life was prepared for this year. I didn't meet my dad. My father left before I was born. I think my mom was 3 or 4 months pregnant when my father left. And the bone of contention was money, right? My father came from a privileged background. My mother came from a poor background. And when they met, my father didn't have anything, but he felt he was in love. I tell people that money is what will make you love what you hate and hate what you love, right? So he felt he was in love. They got together, they were pushing this thing. And somewhere along the line, the father said, okay, no problem. If you want to go ahead with this, you can go ahead, but I will disown you. You will no longer be my child. You will no longer be my son. So my father said, okay, no problem. He pushed it for a couple of months and he couldn't push it anymore. When he went flat with a pregnant wife, he decided to abandon everything and move on to find his life. So I was born into this place where people were not prepared for me. People were not expecting me. And the income was so little and non-available that my presence was a problem. It was a shock, right? It was an economic shock to the family. So I started early on to notice that things were not really as they were supposed to be. I started early on to notice that there were certain kind of aggressions that were not supposed to be there. There were, like I said, money can actually make you hate what you love. What you're supposed to love, you hate it. So I experienced that hate. At about 8, I started hawking stuff from my grandmother to just kind of support the home. And from there, I became a street boy. I was causing a lot of trouble, doing a lot of street things, gambling in the streets, because I had already become aware that there is more, and I don't want to be a part of this poverty kind of thing, right? So at about 11 plus, I was homeless. my family gave me away. They just gave me to this guy and said, you know what, you're too much of a problem, this boy. Just follow this guy to Cameroon, and when you probably go learn one or two things, then when you're cool-headed, you can come back. So this guy was supposed to take me to Cameroon. I don't know how it happened. He took me to Ghana instead. I got to Accra. He abandoned me at the motor park and he vanished. I never saw him again, right? So that was the beginning of my journey. At that point in time, I knew that I had to do something to survive. This is life. I've become born again now. I have to find my way. So, and I had made up my mind that I was never going to die. I was going to survive. So I started hawking stuff just to make my own money. But in the process, I had two things that were guiding me. I had the fact that this is not all there is for me. This is not the best thing possible for me. And at the same time, if I can be able to manage myself well, I can manage myself out of this situation, right? So I started doing that. And after about 3 years plus, I was adopted by a kind-hearted guy. He adopted me, took me off the street, sent me back to school. So when I got back to school, remember, my interest has been about why is it that some people don't have? Why is it that, I have to share a bottle of Fanta with so many adults? Why is it that I have to eat rice only on Christmas Day? Why is it that drinking tea is such a big deal? Why is it that my grandmother will have to go to a burial that we do not even know the person they are burying just to get food for the whole family to eat? All those kind of things. My mind was, how do I live a life that this will not be my reality? I didn't want to be, rich. I just wanted to make sure that I was in a place where I could buy myself a bottle of Fanta and finish it if I wanted to, right? Yeah. So that heightened my interest in money. So when I was in school, I was very good with commerce. I was very good with accounting. I was very good with economics because they taught things that looked like money. I loved it. And I also loved, business maths, those parts that talk about money and all of those things. So I finished school, said, because of your interest in money, read accounting. You understand money better. I went to read accounting. They were teaching me about other people's money, not my own money. So I didn't get to learn a lot about my money. I was interested in where did I learn these things? Okay, you know what? Get a job in the bank. That's where they count money. That's where money, people keep money. So I got into the bank and there was nothing like that. In fact, bankers are the most ignorant people when it comes to money. So my quest continued. Then somebody said, you know what? Just read economics. Economics will open your eyes. It will help you understand, money in its entirety. And I think that makes sense. I went to read economics. I went to University of Benin to read economics and statistics. Good thing, economics opened my mind. Economics opened me up to possibilities, to understanding, things that are very crucial, value, utility, demand and supply, all those kind of things. But I was still not satisfied. So good thing, when I graduated from the university, I met this mentor who now kind of took me on a journey that eventually changed my life. So he was one of my lecturers in school, but he left before I graduated. So afterwards we reconnected, and he was running this research firm. So his firm was into data analytics, helping people to understand and interpret data and all of that. So I joined him, and after a year, I started my own firm doing research, right? Doing research, data analysis, teaching advanced research methods to lecturers in universities and PhD students and all of that. So what happened at that point is that I started stumbling on ideas, because for you to do a research or for you to teach people on research, you have to really read a lot of journals, not books now, but journals, white papers. You have to read deep. So while I was reading these things, I was seeing some ideas on, wealth, ideas on sustainability of wealth, savings. I was seeing things that I know that some people will live for 100 years and they will never be able to see. So I said, wow, instead of me just going to teach these things to people in university who might not even use them for anything valuable, why don't I teach these things to individuals? And I also realized that while I was learning these things, I could come up with my own ideas, I could come up with my own insight, my own theories, I could make them better, right? I said, fine, why don't I just start a firm instead of teaching people how to use these things to make informed financial decisions? And that was how exactly I started Money Sense. It was previously called, I just started teaching it for, just for fun. But as I was teaching it, the method was, coming together in my head, I was understanding the various angles, and eventually we are here now.
Wow, that's an interesting backstory. So To every great and successful person, there is actually a story you probably don't know unless you
Yeah,
had
sure.
or you are close
Yeah,
to them.
sure.
Thank you for taking us through that journey. All right, so let's move on. Now, we've talked about money, and I'm very sure there are some characteristics, because
Yeah.
being financially intelligent and being as someone with money sense has to do with some characteristics, like
Yeah.
it is intentional. So my question now is, what are the 3 traits that everybody with money sense must have? Or people without the money sense at the moment, what are those 3 what are those 3 traits that you must pursue to have?
So first thing is you must have what I refer to as curtailed ambition, right? Or healthy ambition. One of my mentors once said something to me. He said, if you don't take money serious, you can't take. If you don't take money seriously, you can't make serious money, right? So you need to be ambitious. It is when you're ambitious that you begin to ask this thing. I think there is something here missing that I need to know. A person who is not ambitious can just get by with life. I mean, if I weren't born with ambition, I would have just accepted what I saw as my reality. You know, it is easy for the son of a poor man to be poor, just as it's easy for the son of a rich man to be rich. If you have to move from the place of poverty to the place of riches, you must have ambition. And ambition is different from healthy ambition. Healthy ambition is that you are grateful for what you have, but you are working for more, right? I'm grateful for what I have now, but I am working for more. So that is one first thing, healthy ambition. The second thing is awareness. Okay, you must be a person who pays attention to things so that you can know what's working and what's not working. Because a lot of people, their lives are not working, but they don't know. Right? Yeah, a lot of people, their lives are not working, but they don't know. There are also some other people, their lives are working brilliantly well. They don't also know as well because they are not aware. They have not trained their sense of awareness, their sense of mindfulness to be able to really look at the fact that, okay, despite what I have in my bank account, is my life working? That's why you hear some billionaires, despite all the money they have, they are still miserable, right? That's why you also see some poor people, despite all the opportunities around them, they are still poor. It's because of the fact that they don't have a trained sense of awareness. A trained sense of awareness is very, very, very important. So you must be a person who is ambitious. You must be a person who is aware. Then lastly, you must be teachable, right? You must be teachable. I've been in situations where the people I want to teach are many times richer than I am, right? And that's also one of the things you find. For example, every rich man has an advisor. He has a wealth advisor, okay? And these wealth advisors, you don't know them, you don't hear them. They are not probably as wealthy as the people they are advising. But my own case is different, though. My own case is that I will not teach you what I'm not doing. I will do it first. I'll do it first, and I'll teach you from the overflow of my doing. Yeah. So I don't like that idea of, but then, wealth is in levels. You will always meet people who are wealthier than you. You always meet people who have more than you. If you have $1 billion, there's someone that has 2. There's someone that has 10. There's someone that has, 20. And like I said, ambition makes me have $1 billion and be looking for who will teach me or who will help me making it true, right? So I've been in places where I have people who are, wealthier than me. They are humble enough to learn. And I've also been in a place, because I'm a very unassuming guy. I believe one of my philosophies is that if people see you and they can tell your net worth by your appearance, then you're not as rich, right? You need to be someone who is, you're not making money for you to rub it on your body, for you to just step into, this man must be a rich man, this man must have money. No, I have, one of my mentors, he's one of the biggest real estate players in Nigeria. He goes to site when they are working on his apartment. He goes to site with knicker and t-shirts. He would just come to site. He would look like somebody who probably is passing by, but he just came there to make sure that things are working well. He will tell you that he is not interested for you to know that he owns this thing. He's just interested in owning it. Get that? So I've been in places where you see some people that are struggling, really, they need some advice. But because of the fact that they are not teachable, they will not even pay attention to what you're saying. They will not pay attention to the instructions you're passing, because they just have probably a thing in their head that is probably stopping them from learning, or they just have this ego that is stopping them from learning, right? So if you can have these three things, it becomes a whole lot easier for you to, begin to seek your own light, because money sense is light. I tell people that money sense is your unfair advantage in an unfair world. It's your fair advantage in an unfair world, right? So if you have it, you have a fair advantage in a place where others are struggling and complaining. So these three things can help anyone. Yeah.
Wow. In fact, this is just, I don't know what to say. This has been very, very insightful. Personally, I would listen to this over and over again. And guys, see, we have not really even gone deep into the questions, but what he has shared, if we stop here, I'm very sure it is enough.
Yeah,
my advice is this. My mentor, even though he does not know he is my mentor, and I'm very sure you know him too, PK, Pastor. This is something that if you are listening to stuff like this, or if you are in a gathering like this, what you want to do is get a sheet of paper, then tabulate it. On one side, write what you stop doing, and on the other side, write what you start doing. Don't get carried away with so many of the nugget. Some of the things he's sharing right now might not be for you, but pay attention and pick the ones for you and write it down. You get it now? That is my advice for you. So be very intentional. Be very, very intentional about this. Personally, I will watch this again, even though I'm the one interviewing you. I will watch this again and do the same thing. Okay. So let's proceed. This is getting interesting. All right. Now, some people actually have some bad money habits. But they don't know they have bad money habit, or bad money habit. So my question now is, can you just say it? As you have said, some people are not aware they have a problem until someone calls them and tell them, see, you have this problem. And this happens in marketing as well. Some product you sell, people don't know they actually have a problem. So until you tell them. So my question now is, thank God we are actually doing this at the end of the year, and I purposely scheduled this for this part of the season of the year.
Awesome.
So people can actually get some money sense against
next
the year, even though it's just changing time. But of course, it will help people, because my channel, everything we talk about is making money. We have had about 8 episodes of this same show, and what we talk about is making money. So making money is not enough. You can make the whole money, but there might be issue with keeping this money. So my question, don't let me just waste time. My question now is, what are the bad money habits that people needs to drop and not take into the new year?
Okay. So I tell people, you don't have money problem. What you have is a problem of habit and behavior. Okay. So you don't really have money problem. What you have is a problem of habit and behavior. So if you can switch your habit and your behavior, you can actually get resolved. Now, bad money habits might not be a thing. I will mention a couple of things, but bad money habits might not be a thing. What is a bad money habit for me might not be a bad money habit for you. So what I always advise people is, ask yourself this thing that I'm doing, is it leading me closer to my goal, or is it leading me far away from my goal? This is my habits. Is it leading me closer to my goal, or is it leading me far away from my goal? So for example, take clubbing, for example, right? Clubbing is a money sucker, right? So if I have 2 people. One person clubs for fun, and that person clubs for business. So he's into real estate, and it is in clubs that he meets girls that introduce him to people who will buy properties. It's in club he meets some people that he will sell properties to. So he clubs for business, right? So if I tell you clubbing is a bad habit now, I might not be saying the right thing. That's why I said that it's a function of asking yourself, this thing that I'm doing, is it leading me closer to my goal, or is it leading me far away from my goal? So the guy who clubs for business, the way he clubs and the way he behaves is different. Remember, I talked about awareness. So he will be aware. He's aware of what he's doing. He's aware of what he's buying. He's aware of where he's sitting. If he's in VIP, he knows why he's in VIP. If he's ordering this drink, he knows why he's ordering it. But the other guy who does it for fun is spending a lot of money on it. The question is this leading you closer to your goal or not? We have impulse buying. Impulse buying is the one that we can mention categorically. Impulse buying is you don't have a budget, you just find something, you buy it. Now, if you are extremely rich and you indulge in impulse buying, it might not affect your net worth, right? Yeah. So a person who is worth $1 billion, in fact, I think it was the other day I was reading about Bill Gates. Bill Gates can spend $1 million every day for 500 plus years and he will still be a millionaire. Right? Wow. So that tells you that if you see Bill Gates now pumping $1 million every day for 500 years, he will still do well. You get that? So you need to know what you're doing. But impulse buying is a bad habit. It's a bad habit that will not. Now, the funny thing is, these things, you will not see the rich doing it. So a person who can afford to spend $1 million every day popping things will not pop it. But the person who cannot afford to spend even $1 and be fine will be doing things that are bigger than him, right? So like I said, it's a function of asking yourself, these things that I am doing, how is it leading me closer to my goal? So you can call yourself to order and say, you know what, this year I have been doing impulse buying. Like myself, once upon a time, I used to be a shoe addict. I loved shoes a lot. I loved shoes that I had shoes I wasn't wearing. I would just buy the shoes and pack them. I will be passing and I see a shoe. Immediately I see it, I've already seen what it's going to look like on me. I want to buy it. I'll buy it. I go home and pack it up. I had a situation where I bought a shoe with my last card and I trekked home. I went to the ATM, withdrew the money, bought the shoe, and then I trekked back home, right? Yeah, so I had to call myself to it and say, guys, sit down. This behavior, this thing that you're doing. Now, there's nothing wrong in buying shoes. Like now, I still have a lot of shoes, but I had to call myself to it and say, hey, this thing that you're doing this way, is it leading you closer to your goal or is it leading you far away from your goal? And I realized that it was leading me far away from my goal, so I stopped it, right? So call yourself to order and ask yourself this question and be truthful. Like there are two people you cannot lie to. You cannot lie to God or you cannot lie to yourself, even if you lie to other people. Right? And God is really not interested in you, whether you lie or not. But you should be interested in yourself, whether you lie or not, because if you lie against yourself, you will not make progress. And one of the things that money hates is liars. Money hates liars. That's why anybody you see that tells you, oh, I don't like money, can never make money, because the person is a liar. Right? Fine. So you need to look at those things. But more specifically now, impulse buying is a bad habit. Okay. Unplanned giving, unplanned charity is a bad habit. There are some people that have weak emotions. There are some people that they are weak emotionally, so people can blackmail them this period and they will send them money. Some people are on other people's income side of things. So every month or every now and then they just send you one of these things, tell you one of these stories, and then you send them money even though we didn't plan for it. And then you're helping people till you get to a point where you now need help yourself, right? So that is also a bad habit. You need to plan your giving, right? Let no man blackmail you. Also, trying to show off to people that you're making it is also a bad habit, right? You don't need to be in the business of letting people know how well you are doing. You just need to be in the business of doing well, okay? So don't let people don't be in the business of let them know I bought this, let them know the kind of car I drive, let them know where I club, let them know I traveled overseas. Just be in the business of living your best life, not in showing people, what you're living. Don't also compare yourself. It's also a bad habit, right? If you compare yourself when it comes to money, if you're in the business of comparing yourself, you can't win. Why? Because there will always be someone that has more than you do, and there will always be someone that has lesser than you do, right? So if you compare yourself, you will feel small in front of the person that has more, and you feel like a god in front of the person that you have more than. So try to just mind your business, be you, stay on your lane and do you, right? Comparing yourself is a bad habit. Also, buying liabilities instead of assets. A lot of people are in the business of buying things that don't add value or money to their lives. They just want to buy things because
Bless you.
yeah, thank you, man. They're just in the business of trying to buy things because other people bought those things, or because other people have those things, or because their friends are using those things. Those things are also examples of bad habits. Okay, so if you look at those things that are not serving you, just take them out of your life. Okay, take them out of your life and focus on building habits that take you closer to your goals. So spending less money obviously helps you become rich faster. Saving money is a good habit, right? And what I tell people is this: in my book Money Sense Management Protocol, I taught people that you don't need to, people struggle with bad habits a lot because they want to change it. So if you figure that this habit is bad, but you want to change it, you don't change habits. What you do is you swap them, right? You replace them. Yes, you replace them. So there are levels to a habit, but the one you have to replace is you have to become aware of your cue. Your cue is the triggers, right? The triggers. For me, there it was seeing the shoe. The sight was a trigger for me. If I see a shoe, I want to grab it. Okay. Then there's a routine. Routine is what you do when you're triggered. So what you need to change is your routine. So when you perform your routine, there is an outcome, right? When you change your routine, you don't need to change your trigger. I mean, you cannot stop yourself from seeing shoes now. I would always see shoes. So I can't change that. But what I do when I see it is what I can change, and that's my routine. So I can change my routine. Now, for me to perform that routine, there's an outcome I expect. That outcome is actually what excites me. So I can replace a bad habit with a good habit that also gives me the same feel. Now, one of the things I started doing then was, if I see a good shoe and I like it, I walk into the place and I test it. Yeah.
Wow. That's funny.
I walk into the place, I look at it, bring it, feel it, look at it very well, I test it. Oh wow, looks good, fantastic. I felt good. I just want to feel good on this shoe.
Yeah.
I felt good, and I keep it and tell them that, you know what, no problem, I'll come back tomorrow to pick it up, and I go my way. With time, I was able to change that, so I don't, buy things indiscriminately anymore. Oh, wow. So that's what you can also do. Yeah.
Guys, you can see the reason why this is titled Money Sense for 2030. What if you are watching this in 2030? I'm saying in 2020. Okay, so let's move on. Now, one of the things we actually talked about is you need to have clarity of your goals. So if your habit is driving towards achieving that goal, it's not bad. Yeah. But if it is moving you away from that goal, then that's where the issue is. So now the question now is this: how can people set financial goals? Because many people they are into setting goal. Okay, I want to make money. I want to set goal for this and that, but there are still some things missing. So how can people actually set financial goals for the new year, or even just set financial goals?
Yeah. So I have some goal setting models, and one of the programs I do is called Income and Goal Acceleration. Basically, what I do with people is help them set goals and keep them accountable to achieving those goals. Now, there is a thing. I love to let people set what I refer to as wealthy goals, right? Wealthy goals. Now, there's a difference between being rich and being wealthy. They are not the same. So you can be rich without being wealthy, but you can't be wealthy without being rich. Now, when it comes to wealth, there are different angles to it, but the part I want to talk about here now is what I refer to as wealth distinctions, right? So there are 5 wealth dimensions to every human being. If you want to have a wealthy life, if you want to really be wealthy and complete, there are 5 dimensions to your life you must keep together. I'm sure you must have heard stories of people who have money, but their health is failing because, they did things, they didn't take care of their health when they were looking for the money. I'm sure you have people that have money, but their family is apart. Their family is disintegrated. Why? Because they neglected the family when they were chasing the money, right? I'm sure you have people.
I was even reading a story regarding that today. So it's
Yeah. So they are, but so I don't want people to have that kind of life. I prefer people to have distinction in important areas of life. And when it comes to that, there are 5 areas of distinction that exist. So if you want to be wealthy, if you want to be holistically wealthy, there are 5 areas of your life you must concentrate on setting goals at. First one is your spirituality. Now, spirituality has nothing to do with your religion. It has to do with your belief to a superior power. You must align yourself to a power that is bigger than you. That's key. Any rich man you know has an alliance to a higher authority, to a higher dimension of things. You must reach into your soul and because there is nothing like you having money but feeling empty in the inside. Your soul is empty. It's a bad place to be, right? So you need to put your soul together. Man was created to be allegiant to a higher authority. Whatever the authority be is your business. I'm not the one to tell you that, right? But you must submit yourself to a higher authority. That gives your soul some kind of consistency and togetherness. That's the first part. The second part is fitness. I'm sure you must have heard of people say things like, "Oh, your health is wealth," and I'm also sure you have been sick at a point. When you're sick, what do you think about? Do you think about your clients, your money, your YouTube channel, your business? No. The only thing that'll be on your mind is, how do I get well? Yeah. And you've also been in a near-death experience where probably you had a near-death experience. The only thing that'll be on your mind is, man, I hope my ways are right with God. Right? Yeah. So those are key areas of life. Very key areas of life. That's why I call them the 5 world distinction. They are the things that set you apart from the rest of the people. And if you have these things, your life will glow and make sense. So you have to have a fitness routine, something that puts your mind and your body in optimal position so that you can function properly. Because if your mind or your body fails you, everything else fails. So you must set goals on how you're going to be fit. Then the other part is your relationship. Remember, we talked about money initially, and we said that people is money, right? So you must have goals that help you connect and build network with the right people. But more importantly, you must have goals that help you invest in those people who are closest to you. Because when all is said and done, when you're having your last moment, there are some group of people that will be there. Those people are called what? Family, right? So you cannot sacrifice your family to make money. That's being silly. Because when all is said and done, when all the glory and glamour is taken away from you, family will be the only unit that is left with you at that moment. So why are you neglecting them in the name of making money, right? So you must set goals that help you invest in your significant others, because you cannot reap what you did not sow. So you cannot refuse to invest in your significant others and expect them to be there for you, or expect them to, no, they can't be there. If you chase them away, they will go. And the worst thing that can happen to you is to have money and you not having people who truly love you to enjoy it with. Life will really be empty and bitter, So that's the part. Then the fourth part is now money. You see how it comes? Money is at the 4th dimension. So you now set money goals. Now, what are going to be your money goals? Your money goals are going to be how much you want to make, right? How much you want to make, how much you want to save, how much you want to invest. All right? How much you want to make, how much you want to save, how much you want to invest. Depending on this, I'm assuming you're a starter. So you're just, a starter. You don't have, if you're grown, maybe you're no longer struggling with certain things. You can now be setting goals on how much you want to, build, solidify. We talk about how much you want to integrate. We talk about how much you want to protect. There are different levels to this thing depending on where you're playing at or where your own game is resting on at the moment. So you have to set goals there. Then the 5th part is your wisdom. Wisdom dimension is your ability to discern differences in people and events. You can be in a plane with somebody that will change your life without you discerning that this man carries something that I need. Right? Yeah. Like sometimes, if I'm not sometimes, most times, what we suffer as what we have as problem are usually the consequences of our own stupidity or the stupidity of other people. So wisdom is very important to to help you. The Bible says that money is a defense and wisdom is a defense. But the excellence of knowledge is that it preserves the life of those who have it. So you don't want to make money. You don't want to be in the story of people who made money and they lost it all because they made one stupid mistake or because they did one silly thing. And no, wisdom is the principal thing, right? You need to get wisdom. So I have a framework for that. Wisdom is usually at the middle of the whole thing. So while your fall revolves around it, if you're setting goals that will make you wealthy and not just make you money, you need to set goals in these 5 dimensions so that as the years are going by, you are becoming not just richer, but you are becoming wealthier, right? Your life is compact. Your life is making sense. Your every part of your life is making sense. You look at yourself and you feel fulfilled. Unlike when you're just setting money goals. If you're setting just money goals and you're not setting wealth goals, you're not playing the game right. Okay? And now when it comes to setting money goals, of course, one of the things is you have to be outrageous. You have to set goals. When it comes to your finances, you have to set goals that you do not know how you're going to figure out. You have to set goals that you will need divine intervention to actualize. Because if you keep setting goals that you will figure out, your life will be small. If you keep setting goals that are within the limit of your comprehension, your life will be small. So you need to set goals that will require some kind of external forces, will require taking you out of your comfort and present zone to a place where forces you never knew existed in the inside of you and around you can help you to get what you want, right?
Rema, hey God, guys, this is not just about money sense. So, in fact, I will replay this over and over. This is like a guide for you for 2023, guys. And these are the kind of things you get on the Expertview Show. So if you are getting value right now, I don't need to tell you what to do. Just like and hit the subscribe button. This, in fact, my mind is blown. My head, maybe it will blow. I don't know.
No, it will not blow. It will not blow.
Okay, so guys, in fact, I'm enjoying. I'm learning a whole lot of things right here. All right, continue.
Yeah. So I get that. That's what you should do. You need to be outrageous. You need to be outrageous. I hope to be doing some goal setting classes within this period, to really get people some ideas. But in setting goals, you're setting your financial goals, you need to know your outcome. You need to know your inputs, right? But you cannot be setting up the process. What's the outcome? I want to make 100 million naira, or I want to make $1 million this year. What's going to be your input? Your input is, first one is that you must have a reference, right? You must have a reference. If I say I want to make $1 million now, I have a couple of people in my network that have made $1 million. In fact, one of my mentors made his first $1 million at the age of 27, and now he's 40 years old. So you can know that he has repeated the process over and over again. So you must have a reference, right? You must have a reference. And part of the reference too, you must have some evidence. You cannot say, I want to make $1 million. You don't have what you're doing. You're not even doing something that has margin. You're not playing in a profitable industry, or that kind of thing. That is not strong. Nature will work against you, right? Then the other one is that you must have habits. You must have habits that support your goal. You cannot have a minimum wage work ethics and expect to have an optimum result. So you must have habits that support that. You must have routines and systems that support the output, right? Then the process will now be part of what you can do and part of what divinity needs to do for you. Because you see, what you are looking for is out there, but you don't really know how to assess it. That's why you're human. God is omnipotent, omnipresent. He knows the end from the beginning. So God does not need to guess to get it. You're not God, right? So you will need some forces. Those forces are things that will bring you to people that will help you make things happen. I was listening to one of these co-authors of Chicken Soup for the Soul, and he was talking about when he set a goal to make $1 million. First time he set a goal to make $1 million. So he wrote a $1 million check and pasted it around different corners of his house. He did not know how he was going to make $1 million. He didn't know, right? But he had these other things I've mentioned. He was writing books, so he went for a book exhibition, and he met this woman at the bookstore, who started a conversation and eventually decided to offer him a distribution channel and then offered him some deal. And because of that, he was able to make his first $1 million, right? You see, he did not know that was going to come from a woman. When he went for that exhibition, I'm sure he did not know that was going to be the place. But it happened. So you need to just be certain of what you want. But how it's going to happen, you will not know. But you have to be outrageous. Don't set financial goals you can figure out. If you set financial goals you can figure out, trust me, man, your life will be small. Set goals that are outrageous and your life will be fantastic.
Wow. Okay, so now, because you talked about habits, talked about routine and all of that, and one of the key pillars of money sense is savings, right? So as an expert in this field, I'm very sure you have had conversation with so many people that have issues with saving. So my question now is, for someone watching this right now, what are the best practices they can follow to save more money or to even start saving?
Okay, so the first thing is to understand exactly what saving is and why you're doing it. Okay, trust me, a lot of people don't understand what saving is and why it should be done, because even the people who teach these things don't teach them well. So there's resistance. First of all, what is saving? Saving is a deliberate process of consistently, right? A deliberate process of consistently keeping aside a certain percentage of every income for future purpose. If you understand savings that way, wouldn't you do it? That, man, there's a future for this thing. Keeping your money aside and saving money are not the same. There are people that keep money aside from January till December. Until December, they will blow everything. That's because those people did not save. They just kept the money aside and there was no future purpose to it. Now, secondly is savings is just postponed consumption. Like, I'm disciplining myself that, okay, this money that is coming now, okay, no wahala, I'm not spending it now. I'll spend it in the future doing X, Y, Z. Okay, so this money, I'm going to put some money down, and when it gets to $1,000, I'll use it to buy camera for my channel, or I use it to buy a car for my business, or I use it, so there's a future to it. You're not saying that I'm not going to spend this money, because how they teach you about saving is that, just keep money aside. So it becomes more like a denial, like, man, somebody is taking my money from me. I remember when we are growing up, when you save your money, you usually save your money with your parents, either your mom or your dad, and you never get that money back. You're coming from the kind of place you're coming from, you save the money and you never get it back. Because of that, there's a thing in your brain that makes you believe that what you save is lost. All right? There's a thing that makes you believe that what you save is lost. So if you understand the right idea and the right meaning of what you're doing, it becomes a whole lot easier for you to do it. Second thing is, take yourself seriously. Right? Take yourself seriously. Saving is paying yourself first. You can only pay yourself first if you take yourself seriously. A lot of people don't take themselves seriously, and that's why they don't save. Right? You feel you're not important. You make all the money, but you're not important. The grocery man is more important. The landlord is more important. Your car is more important. Every other person is more important. The market woman selling something is more important than you. So by the time you're done giving them all the money, there's nothing left for you to say. But man, I am the most important guy in this equation. I'm the one that made the money. I'm the one that has a future I'm pursuing. I'm the one that has goals, dreams, and ambitions. So I am going to pay myself first. When I make this money, I will pay myself 20% first. Then whatever is left, I can share with the rest of the people. Anybody that it does not get to will have to wait till next time, please. Right? That is a thing. And that can only happen if you take yourself seriously. If you love yourself enough to take yourself, seriously. Okay? Very, very key. Now, if you get all of those mindset, then the strategy is now what you have to figure out yourself. One of the strategies are, there are a couple of strategies. One of them is that you must have a key account, right? And then decentralize your savings. So your key account is where your money comes in. So that could be where you get your salary, you get your pay, you get your inflow. That's where the money comes into. So you now put some kind of instruction on that on that account to save or channel or push aside different amounts or different percentages of the income on a regular basis to different accounts. Why that is important is because you save for different things. We have about 7 categories of savings, right? We have about 7 categories of savings that you have to build. The first key one is your emergency savings. Emergency savings is usually between 3 to 24 months of your monthly expenses. So if you spend $1,000 every month, you need to have between $3,000 to $24,000 saved in an emergency fund. Okay, in an emergency savings. What that means is that if I don't earn money for the next 24 months, I will still sustain my current standard of living without losing a thing. Okay, it gives you confidence. You have your investment savings. That's the money you save strictly for investment purposes. You have special project savings. The money you save for a certain project. Maybe you want to get married. Maybe you want to start up your business. Maybe you want to, just do something for yourself to upgrade yourself. Special project savings. We have personal development savings, right? The money you save to educate yourself. A lot of people don't really buy books. They don't go for seminars. They can't afford workshops. Why? Because they don't save for these things. They just believe that, when it is time, money will come out and I will do it. No, it doesn't happen that way. You have to save it. You must have personal education fund, right? Where you put money consistently to educate yourself. Okay, you have fund money. The money you save that you can blow anyhow you want. So you save the money and you can go anywhere with it and do anything you want with it without feeling guilty. These are some of the categories of savings that you must build, right? And the first place to start is your emergency savings. If you are able to build your emergency savings, you have that confidence and self-assurance that can now help you to progress in other areas. If you're trying to save randomly, you're not going to cut it. So you have to get structured, you have to get organized, and you have to do it systematically. That is the only time it will work. These are the strategies that can help you work it. Now, you might need to talk with someone to help you figure this out because individuals are different and realities differ as well. That's what will determine what approach you could take, right? And also where you are will also determine what approach you take. But first, you need to get these few things I've spoken about in order. Then the rest of the things will be a walk in the park.
Well, this is also okay. Now let's continue. Now we just finished talking about saving. Now you said something. Most people that talk about saving don't tell you what you actually do with the saving. They just tell you like, it will be like a bank where you just keep saving. That's where the issue is. So now the question is, okay, after you have saved this money, after you have this money, how exactly can you make money work for you?
Yeah. So there are 3 investments you must make. You must invest in yourself, you must invest in opportunities, you must invest in assets. These are the things that your savings are meant to do for you. Okay? These are the things that your savings are meant to do for you. Your savings are meant to help you invest in yourself. Your savings are meant to help you invest in opportunities. Your savings are meant to help you invest in assets. So there are different instruments and there are different markets. Okay, so personally, I love real estate. I love real estate a lot. I've done a couple of investments. I've played in different markets. The first investment I made was in 2006, and that was shares. I bought IPO, right? I bought IPO of a company, and that was the first investment I made, and that was what started me on the journey. And I've tried a lot of things, lost a lot of money, my own money and other people's money over time. And I've seen what works and what fails. I've been able to form some ideas. So first thing is you need to understand what you want. Okay, before going on with investing or putting your money to work for you, you have to understand exactly what you want. Some people will tell you, buy safe and secure instruments. Personally, I don't like safe and secure instruments, right? I love to go big. I love to do big deals, and I love to do it in a way that will help me to really get rich, not quick but fast, right? There's a difference between getting rich quick and getting rich fast. Okay, so safe and secure instruments come with very little risk, such as your bond. Okay, but you don't have enough money to make the returns on that investment make sense. So I'm not ready to be playing safe when inflation is doing me bad things. Okay, I love to get into a space where I know that growth can be astronomical. So, for example, at the beginning of the year, I had some land that were within my radar that sold for 500k. As the year is closing, one of those lands is selling for 2.2 million.
Wow!
Right? Yeah. So you can see that's almost 400% percent return. That's those are the kind of deals I love. And that's one of the reasons why I love real estate. Real estate can really, if you understand what you're doing there, it can really, really help you, put yourself together. Then shares. Okay, but shares is not the way you see it in the stock market. Okay. When I love to buy, when I'm talking about shares, I'm talking about buying from the back door. The shares you see them advertise is what is left after the rich guys have taken what is on the table. What they sell is the leftover. So they've taken the meat and they're selling the bone. So I'm sure you must have heard of things like private placement. You have heard of things like right issues. These are some backdoor transactions that you can get into, right? And also, when you're buying shares, you can buy shares, but don't buy shares as shares is going to make you rich. Buy shares that you want to get access to ownership. Look at what Warren Buffett does. Warren Buffett does not buy shares to make money and all of that. Warren Buffett buys shares to buy the company eventually, or to get access to the table of the company. That's what he does. So if you invest with that mindset, it's cool. If you're in Nigeria, cool thing for you would be to look at how you can begin to invest in foreign stocks, right? We have apps now that can help you from Nigeria invest in foreign stocks. Begin to look at that option. It's a good one. Why? Because there's currency difference, so you can actually get some stuff from there. It makes a whole lot of sense. I also recommend investing in startups. Now, not really startups. I recommend investing in companies. So 2 companies I recommend, or two nature of companies I recommend. First one, startups. You know what startups are? Technological driven companies that are trying to do stuff. They're trying to disrupt a sector or solve a problem at scale, right? So you can look at these startups and do your evaluations properly and be on the table and provide some initial fund. Okay, provide some initial fund. Some of them do crowdfunding for their seed rounds, so you can join them and find a way to. So for example, if a company does seed round and maybe you're able to put like $5,000 there, right? And say in 3 years they do the evaluation and the company goes in value, you can decide to sell your stake and pull out. Okay, you can also decide to grow with the company. Yeah, so that's a good one. Then the other one is for you to look for companies that have cash flow and partner, right? Companies that have cash flow and partner. So I have this one of my mentors. He plays in the US market. He's a Nigerian, but he plays in the US market. Basically, what he does is he looks for companies that are doing like $1 million in revenue, right? He comes into the business, puts like $100,000 in the business, but that will be strictly for marketing. So he put $100,000 in the business for marketing, and he will bring his marketing team to take over the marketing of the business, right? So at the end of the year, whatsoever money they make above the threshold of the last revenue, they will share it according to their agreed percentage. So you could say, you know what, you made $1 million last year. I could help you make $2 million this year. I'll do the marketing. I'll bring money on the table. When that happens, the extra 1 million or the extra money we make, I will take 20%, 30%. Is a win-win for the business. So that is how he plays in that field. Then there are other people that do different kinds of JVs, joint venture partnerships. Just look for companies that have juice and see how you can get into it. All right. Look for companies that have juice, companies that have meat, and see how you can get into it as a partner. Most times I tell people, you don't need to start the company. People are obsessed about starting a business, You don't need to start anything. There are plenty of businesses that have been started. There are plenty of businesses that have been started. Why are you joining the bandwagon of starting another business? Why don't you look for a business that has already been started but struggling or needs some kind of, intervention, and intervene with your skill and your money and make profit, man. What we're looking for is money. Okay. So for example, when I went into the real estate sector, I didn't go there to start a business. I don't have a real estate company, right? I'm a real estate salesman. I'm in the business of closing real estate deals. Apart from that, I have a joint venture partnership with the owner of the company that helps me to make money without having to own the company, apart from the fact that I sell. You get? So if I wanted to start a real estate company, man, it requires a whole lot of things. You need to gather experiences, you need to lose people's money, you need to get your fingers burnt. I don't need all of those things. I just come in with my skill and my place of interest, sit on it, have a JV with you. Everybody wants to make more money. Even a company making $1 billion wants to make more money. If you can show the company how you can make $2 billion, they welcome you in. And we all have skills, we all have connections, we all have touch points. Some of us have money that we can actually use to make these things happen. This is how to look at your investment in 2023 and beyond. Don't just look at those myopic things that people are looking at. Look beyond that. Remember, I tell people no investment is risky. What is risky is the investor, right? And what makes you risky is your level of knowledge. If you're doing something ignorantly, you're very risky. And that is why some people can invest in gold and lose money, and other people will invest in shit and make money. It's a function of the knowledge.
Guys, see, going forward in 2023, try as much as possible to collaborate. I've been saying this.
Yeah.
Sometimes you might not even have the financial capacity, because you said something when we started this episode. All what you have might be just credibility, social capital, and you can leverage on that to actually make money. So stop seeing beyond having the physical cash at hand only before you can do business. There is a collaboration I did recently, not up to a month. The collaboration within 24 hours, we did over 500K. That's over $500,000. We did not spend money. This is not our physical listing, right? Most people on my channel will know the person I'm talking about. Although the person has also publicly talked about this by himself. In 24 hours, we did about 500K. That's $500,000. So, guys, start looking into collaboration. Start collaborating. You understand? So, because Nigerians actually have this problem, especially in the space I play in. They have this problem with collaboration. Collaboration to some people is like you are competing with them. So this is one of the reasons I do what I do on this show. Bring on new guests. Of course, there are topics I can talk about very, very well. And there are some topics that even if I have idea about it, I still have to like bring some
deep, very deep.
Yeah. So that's the whole idea of. So I'm just saying here, guys, think about collaboration, and you yourself, you need to be very valuable to collaborate. Okay. So let's proceed. Now just talk about investment. Now, as an investor, what is your advice to people that want to invest? Because this year alone, I can count like at least 2 businesses that crashed in Nigeria. And as so many people, although I'll not be mentioning names here, and as so many people that have invested in these particular businesses or companies, and you will never think of them crashing at all in 5 years' time. But they crashed, and billions, not millions now, billions of naira crashed with it. So the question now is this. We've talked about investment right now. The question is, what do you look out for, or what can people look out for, right? What can people look out for before they consider an investment opportunity?
Okay, so I look at, there are a couple of things. Now, the first thing is you need to know whether you are actually investing. What most people call investment is not an investment. It's just a gamble, right? So investing simply means putting your money behind an asset. So anytime you're doing anything that you call investing, ask yourself, what is the asset? What exactly is the asset that I am putting this money behind? If you cannot answer that question straight, there is no investment. You're just trying to gamble, yeah? Okay. So if you put your money in a company, for example, if you go to the stock market and you buy share of a company, we call that investment. Why? Because you're putting your money behind the product and services that this company is selling. So If I have 2 bikes and 3 bikes, and I call myself a company now, and I call you to come and put your money in my company. Remember, most times when this investment these things people call investments, not come and buy assets or come and invest in these assets. It's always come and put your money in my company. Company that is doing what exactly? Company that is just doing nothing, right? So you need to know, first off, this thing I'm doing, is it really investing or I'm just playing? Second thing is, what's the profile? The personality profile of the people behind the company or the investment. So when you're looking at personality profiles, what have they done before? How long have they done it? How consistent have they been? What has been their result? Right? Look at these things. And more importantly, what is their character? One of my mentors will say, you cannot do a good deal with a bad person. I cannot do a bad deal with a good person. Right? So most times people are trying to do a good deal with a bad person. Somebody who is greedy by nature cannot be a good business partner. He will bite you in the butt somewhere, sometime. Right? Yeah. So you cannot just invest in people without understanding their personality, understanding their story, and studying them over time. And now social media is very interesting. Social media can actually help you know who a person is. Yeah. If I want to study you and you have presence on social media, just give me a few weeks and I will give you a detailed profile of the kind of person that person is. Right? These things leak out. They leak out. So you need to study the person. Then the company you're putting your money into, what exactly is it like? How solid is it? The asset in question, what is it? So for example, I do real estate. Simple stuff. Come and buy land, right? And the land I'm selling to you is not the land that I want to sell to you and use your money to go and buy. It is land that we have already acquired, done the documentation, and the land is intact. So I am just selling it to you. It's very simple, right? Now, remember that things happen, things fail. Whether you like it or not, businesses will keep failing. They have always been failing. They will keep failing, right? But the thing is, you need to do things that will reduce your risk. The chances of your land becoming a bad business, for as long as you're buying from the right person. Remember, I talked about person first, right? For as long as you're buying from the right person, it takes extreme circumstance for you to lose money in real estate, right? It takes extra circumstance for you to lose money in real estate if you're doing the right thing. So you need to know exactly, the profile of the company and the assets you're investing into. Then the other thing is, look at the economic dynamics. There are certain things that economy travels in cycles, and even products travel in cycles, right? So if you're buying at the tail end of a cycle, you might experience the downfall of that product. So buy things that are upward swinging, just follow the cycle, understand the economic dynamics of what you're buying. So understand the economic dynamics of land, understand the economic dynamics of gold, if that's what you want to buy, understand the economic dynamics of whatever thing that you want to invest in. Understand the economic dynamics. Like I tell people, I don't invest in logistic companies because I don't understand their dynamics. Right? Yeah, in Nigeria, anybody that is trying to run a business that requires a lot of logistics is going to lose money somewhere and is going to run into trouble because logistics is still very expensive. Right? Even myself, I write books and I try to use logistics to move these books around. Man, sometimes I lose money trying to send people their books. Okay, so imagine I'm running a business and I'm collecting money from people for this. There's going to be issue somewhere. So that the economic dynamics of logistics in Nigeria does not yet make sense. Okay, so you need to really pay attention to those kind of things and find out exactly what is happening. And also you need to verify who am I dealing with, and these things will bring two things. It will bring certainty. Certainty is very important when it comes to investing. You need to be certain that you're not going to lose money, right? You need to be certain that you're not going to lose money. Secondly is that you need to be certain that your risk is well managed. That's where the idea of do not invest more than you can afford to lose comes in. Okay, so you need to make sure that you manage your risk and ask yourself, in worst case scenario, if things go bad, how am I going to survive? So you hear people who get greedy, They go and borrow money from their family members. Some will carry money from meetings. Some will carry money from church, and they put it into something and say they want to collect returns. Then they will return back the money to the people, and eventually the money does not return to them. That's a problem. It's a problem of greed. So you don't allow greed to get in the way of things for you when it comes to investment. And that's why emotional control is very important. If you cannot control your emotions, your greed will get the best part of you and mess things up for you, and that is bad. Right? Yeah.
Wow. And as per the logistics, this is what because I know most of the people on my channel, they are mostly they are into e-commerce business, digital marketing, and all of that.
Okay.
And this, I understand the logistics aspect is a very, very big issue. And this is why e-commerce guys, we don't really use the conventional logistic system or this company or this point. We don't use them.
Yeah.
We use personal, like an agent. So you send your products in bulk to these people.
Them.
Then when you have orders, they help you deliver. Easy peasy. You have orders today, they deliver today or tomorrow. So I just wanted to chip that in. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So we are almost done. I think we have 2 more questions after this. All right. So I will just skip this particular part because we have touched some assets like real estate, shares, and all of that. Okay. So let's move to the next one. Now this is like your opinion, because I know most of the people, even though people from US, India, and other countries, Ghana, South Africa, and other countries will be watching this, but I just need to do this. Now, we are recording this video in December. Now, by next year, which is January, in case you are watching this after January, by then, CBN would have rolled out the new design. I think they're already rolling out
it's coming out. Yeah.
Okay.
People are started getting. Yeah.
What's your take on the currency redesign? And they also said they will introduce withdrawal limits next year. So you'll not be able to withdraw
beyond a certain amount.
You'll not be able to withdraw over 100k in a week and 20,000 naira in a day. So just give us what's your opinion on these 2 policies?
All right. So what the CBN, all these things is just a fallout of cashless policy. Some years back they introduced the cashless policy thing. So these are just follow-up policies to make the cashless policy work. And there is nothing wrong in going cashless. Now, remember before I told you, understanding how money works, you need to understand politics. I need to understand economics, right? So this is just political stroke economic behavior. Now, every country has control over its money. Nigeria is just one of those countries in the world that does not have control over its money. So what is happening here is that the government is trying to take control of its money. The reason why cryptocurrency has not started flying globally is because of the fact that the government has not figured out how to control it. Let me tell you something. It is impossible, right? It is impossible for you to have money that government cannot control. It cannot work. So the people who are behind crypto ideas, they need to begin to understand that money is a tool of control, and no government will lose that power. No government will lose it. The worst they will do, they will ban it. So it's not like crypto will not work. It will work by the time the government has figured out how to control it. Government must be involved. Government cannot be out of the game. So in Nigeria, we have about 4.something trillion naira in circulation, and the central bank, or the over 80% of that money is not within the banking vault. What that means is that money is in the economy, but it is not in the regular economy. So with that amount of money being outside of the banking vault, you would agree with me that most of our statistics and data and financial speculations and speculations are faulty, because we don't even know how much that is truly there, right? So what the CBN is doing with this policy is to push the money back into the system. And you can see it was the higher notes that were redesigned, and that's because most of this money are higher notes. And if you've been listening to the news lately, we see people discovering abandoned, I saw some containers of 1,000 naira notes, that have spoiled over time. That is to tell you that there are monies out there. People buried money in septic tanks, people buried money in the bush, people buried money in the wall, in so many places, politicians. And these guys need this money for the election.
Yeah. Thank you for that exposition. And the truth is, they actually did a good thing. That's actually a smart move. The intention is actually
right. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the most important thing. Okay, so the last question here is this. Just give us just one. You have shared a lot already, but give us one. Even if you are watching this, even if that's the only thing you are taking away from this particular episode, just run with it in 2023. This thing I'm saying now helped me last year. There is this particular thing. I said, okay, even if I forget everything, this one is engraved in my heart. So if you are watching this now, just listen to this money sense from the money sense.
Yeah, so the money you don't plan for will plan against you. Right? The money you don't plan for will plan against you. So if you don't want your money to plan against you, plan your money. I think that should be it.
Yeah, let me just put this on the screen. So, in essence, make sure you plan for your money. Wow, yeah. This has been insightful, educating, value packed, and every other orishi. So now you have actually shared a whole lot, and you talked about a book, Money Sense Management.
Okay, yeah, the Money Sense Management Protocol. Yeah, it's my latest book. It's my latest book. We're still
can access it.
Okay, so we are just still trying to roll it out. It's in hard copy. Basically, the theme of the book is how to manage your. like I said before, people teach how to manage money. I don't teach how to manage money. I teach people how to manage themselves around money. So the book is all about how to manage yourself around money. That's the theme of the book. So there are different aspects. It's about 13 chapters, and total is about just 160 pages. So it's something you can actually, read through in a short time. And yeah, so we are still rolling it out. But if you want a copy, you can send me a WhatsApp message and we'll arrange a copy and send over to you. Yeah, so 080-914-65571. So +23. Okay, 080. Yeah, 080-914-65571.
65571.
Yeah. So if you send us a message, we'll arrange how to get you a copy.
How much is the book?
It's 5,000 naira.
Guys, that's very, very cheap. Less than $10 or so.
Yeah.
Yeah, less than $10. Guys, I'm not here to start convincing you. This is someone that knows what he's doing, and you yourself, you have experienced his knowledge. So I don't need to start convincing you again. If you want to know how to manage your money, as against 2023 or for life, go just buzz him on WhatsApp right now and get the book. You can just tell him you are from the TES show, the Expertview Show, or TES show, or from Samuel or from Adeleke. You will get special treatment. Don't say I
sure.
Don't say I told you that. Okay, so you have actually shared a lot. So I just had to ask of that particular, because you mentioned the book in some of the responses you gave. And another question is, how can people connect with you? Maybe on social media.
Yeah, so Iheanacho, that's where I am. Facebook, Iheanacho, Twitter, Iheanacho, Mr. Money Sense, Iheanacho, yeah, on Twitter, or on Instagram. Okay, I should take one after the other.
No, don't worry, I'll just put everything.
Okay, so Instagram is Iheanacho. I am Iheanacho on Instagram. But I am very active on Facebook, and we also have a community on Facebook. We're about 9,000 plus. Money Sense Africa is on Facebook as well, so people can join us there. So there are some things I share in the group that I don't share outside of the group, so it's also a good one to be there.
Okay, guys. So you have heard our advice. Actually, I just like come to read about some thread.
Yeah, I think you're in that group. Yeah.
Yeah. So guys, just go to your Facebook right now. Search for his name. You will see his content, so you can also follow him. Now, the most important thing is this: any guests I bring on my show, I make sure they don't just come and go. Now, you have shared a lot with us, but I know there is still a lot inside the bank. So the question is, do you have any program? Do you have any course that people that want to actually learn this? Can you share with us?
Okay, so I do regular workshops and master classes, but most times people who are in I have a school called Money Sense School, right? Like there is really no place where people get to learn about money in a structured format. Okay, so that's why I started Money Sense School. It's an online school where we learn about money in a systematic process. And most times my workshops are free for members of Money Sense School, but they are paid for by non-members. So people who want to become members of Money Sense School can just join. And it's important that, like I said, you be in a place where you're having this conversation over and over again, so that it can become a part of you, and you get to become better at it. So that is how you can really get the best of me. Join Money Sense School. We're launching in 2023, and we have good stuff in part for everyone. My goal is to just make sure that everybody gets this message. So I do short reports, I do free programs, I write threads, I have free conversations. I do a lot of free things just to make sure that a lot of people are getting this. But you need to go beyond free, to also invest in your own journey, and also get the things that are not free, because it's not everything that we can make free now. Yeah, so some things are actually paid for. So those things you can actually access them by privilege of being a member of Money Sense School. Yeah.
Yeah. So guys, in case you are interested in joining the school, which I would advise you do, you can either buzz him on WhatsApp, you have shared his contact, or just go to this link. Just visit this link and you'll be able to register. But you can chat him up on WhatsApp or buzz me anyway. I would find a way to connect you with him. So a lot has been shared. All I can say is, guys, don't just watch this and let it skip. Make sure you are intentional about the things you have learned here and practice, implement them in your life. You will see the difference in your finances. So on this note, I want to appreciate you for taking out time to actually educate people on financial intelligence, because we hardly have conversations like this. So thank you very much for honoring the invitation and taking your time and your knowledge, your resources to share all of this with my community. I want to appreciate it. Yeah. So that will be all for now. I will get in touch with you at the back door.
Thank you everyone. Yeah. Thank you guys. Appreciate. Yeah.
Okay guys, so that is it. Trust me, I've had so many guests on the show this year, and this is just another amazing episode. Well, I don't need to start asking you if it is educating or not. It is, and you just experience it yourself. So go get whatever course and offers he has talked about in this particular episode. And as I've said, I don't bring anybody I'm bringing here. I've done the hard work for you. I've checked their credibility. Whatever they sell works. And these are people that do whatever thing they are promoting, right? So go get the course or the program, join the Money Sense School. So you want to also learn how to be accountable, like you have accountability partner. All of these things matter. So go get the program, register, connect with him, and every other thing. And one more thing is check out on YouTube. We also have a YouTube channel. So yeah, that'll be all for now. And Merry Christmas and Happy New Year in advance. And what else I want to say? I think that'll be all for now. So yeah, one more thing is this, guys. In case you are watching this, join my Telegram community, join my Telegram channel. Even though I don't talk much about it, that's where I share some things that I share. So just check my Telegram channel. Let me put the link on the screen. Okay, yeah, here is it. So just join the Telegram channel. This is where you can get some things I don't share publicly or even on my YouTube channel. Okay guys, so I'll see you in the next episode. Bye for now.